Morning, guys. Got kind of cold last night, about 32 or so, but it's really nice out right now. So anyway, I just wanted to make a comment. I was talking to my wife this morning, and she was upset about all the basically what we see now is communist infiltration into our entire political system, not just the Democrats, but Republicans. It's really deep, and there's a lot of there's a lot of people that are involved in it. And so, I was listening to her and it was just like, oh my God, just so negative, so negative. And, I'm just blessed and happy that she's aware because, a few months ago, even my wife was not aware. I mean, I'd say 6 months, she started kind of waking up. And a year ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, she was basically just didn't even want to hear about it. It was something that she just didn't even want to have a conversation about because she thought it was, she didn't believe that there was this much corruption and this much darkness. Or maybe she just didn't want to face it. Let's just say I think she didn't want to face it. Anyway, so I was thinking about it and I'm like, wow, what a blessing it is to just know who the enemy is. Let's just say this. Let's just say players. Let's just call them players. Um, it's a blessing to know the players. Okay. Um, it's sometimes it's good to know where you stand. And if you're a warrior, if you're a person who makes efforts to improve, you want to know your weakness. You know, Kamlesh mentioned something about this, and I don't know if it was a video I watched or something I read, but talking about criticism and how really criticism is a gift. I mean, when someone criticizes you, it's an opportunity to up your game. If it's legitimate. I mean, there's always illegitimate criticism. Um, I had an experience at work once. I was working nights. I was in a bad place. I was really not at my best, and I made some comments to some coworkers, and my boss basically called me in, and it's not something I'm proud of. My point is that my boss didn't just say, hey, this is unacceptable, and this comment was not acceptable, and I would have apologized. I mean, I would have said I'm sorry. It wasn't in my character to do that. I was just won't happen again. I would have just accepted responsibility and moved on. But instead, what he did is he basically just attacked me, and he got all red faced and angry. And now I've been an employee there for 12 years. I mean, I had never had anything but praise and accolade, and I got my boss tearing into me. For really it was weird. It was almost like surreal. And after the meeting, I just was like, okay, I know where I stand, and it ain't going to be here. I will not work for this person anymore. And it was a positive thing. It really hurt my feelings, and it was like an attack. It really didn't hurt my feelings because I didn't care what this person thought about me, to be honest, because I didn't respect him anyway. But um, the point of that is I knew where I stood, and on it there was like a switch flipped that needed to be flipped on the inside, where I decided I don't care if I have to drive a garbage truck. I don't care what I have to do. I will not work for this person anymore. And that day I decided I was going to get a different job. And when I made that move, it was like I got support in nature. A friend called from my other job that I had, and I had moved from there, the job I have now. And she said, I'm leaving, and do you want my position? And I was like, wow, you know, I was supported the whole time. So knowing where I stood it was kind of important that I made that hard switch. It was no longer black and white. It was or a gray area. It was black and white. If I stay here, I'm compromised. If the only way for me to have integrity is to walk away from this situation and to move on. And so when I look back at that manager that did that, I'm actually grateful. I feel gratefulness towards him. I feel thankful because I'm in a better position because of that situation. I might have tried to stay there, if he would have said, "Oh, please stay, and oh, you're so great, and oh, we want you." And I would have stayed there in a bad situation. I was getting sick. I was having physical problems from being on night shift and mental problems. I mean, it was really bad. And so this situation that we're in, this political drama that we're in, is kind of the same situation. We can, I already made up my mind. I already flipped a switch on this a long time ago in my mind, and what I believe to be true in my heart is Trump was the person who was selected, not Biden, and they stole. They tried to steal the election. So whatever happens, that is going to be what I believe to be the case. And you're always going to have people that gaslight you and tell you that you're wrong when you're right and right when you're wrong, and um, that is going to be the case no matter what. That's why you have to learn to trust yourself, and this is a great opportunity to do that. And find out where you stand. And if you know if you're faced with these situations, they can actually become like signposts for you. I mean, this election, the corruption, all the stuff that's coming out, this was all designed. I believe it was designed this way. They wanted this corruption to come out. They wanted to expose the corruption because if they didn't expose it, what would happen? It'd just be another steal in 4 years or 2 years or whatever. So I mean, it's really important that this go down the way it did. Just like me going to my manager and him going off on me. I mean, it's kind of the same situation. We're in a collective situation like that now, where we can say, okay, I definitely know. I know where I stand. I know who the enemy is. I mean, there's a lot of Republican rhinos who are being exposed right now for not supporting Trump. People that Trump supported to get elected and put his backing behind, and they turned on him and they're betraying him. And if you're halfway paying attention, you can see that that's what's happening. And in the meantime, we have a complete collapse of Hollywood. We have a complete collapse of these pedophile networks. They're going in and routing them. We're not hearing about it, but it's happening. Arresting the Canadian Jeffrey Epstein, this big mogul up there in Canada, just got arrested for child trafficking and human trafficking. And I mean, that's huge. Like that's a if all this other stuff wasn't going on, and if we had an honest media, that'd be all over the news, right? I mean, this is a big deal. And because this is going to implicate many people. There's many people involved in that. And so good things are happening. We have to understand that the good things are happening. Just the fact that the darkness is being exposed is good, even though it might feel like we're losing, or things are down on us, or the chips are against us. Um, I don't believe that to be the case. I don't believe it to be the case at all. I feel stronger knowing that um, people are waking up. People are being exposed to the reality of what's going on, and that few months ago that wasn't happening. Even a month ago, I mean, the fact that these Chinese spies are involved, and all these people are compromised. I mean, the people who have been waking up, like I've been waking up for the last 30 years, but a lot of people are just waking up. I mean, just starting to see it, and it's never been so clear as now. If you have any interest in the truth, it's right there in front of your face. So anyway, it's honestly it's a blessing. So let's just remember that you know it's a blessing to know where you stand. It's a blessing to know who the enemy is. Sometimes you don't even know. You might think a friend is or the enemy is your friend. I mean, this is this is where we're at as a country right now, you know, and we are just now learning that we're at war. You know, we've been at war for the last, who knows, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, maybe. I mean, look at Korea, the Korean War. The the Chinese were fighting against our soldiers. They were fighting against the UN, and so I mean, we've been at war with China for a long time, and they've had a plan and a plan in place to basically overthrow our country. And it's not just China. China's being backed by these dark cabal. The dark forces are actually pulling all the strings. But so it's good. You know, it's a blessing in a way, and yeah, it's actually a really big blessing. So at least we know where we stand. At least we know, you know. And if it comes down to a point where they're rounding people up and they're coming house to house and arresting people and taking them out of their house, then at least we know. I mean, I could told my wife, I said, they're not taking me from this house alive. And, you know, I have resolve in that. That's just a factual statement. I'm not, you know, it's not hyperbole. It's how I feel. It's what I'm prepared to do. It's how strong I feel about this. If they come to my house to take me or my guns, I'm going out feet first. They're not taking me out alive. And that goes for my whole family. We'll all fight to the death. We're all warriors. We have warrior spirit. And so anyway, I love you guys. Let's not be negative. Let's look at the positive of this. I mean, the enemy is being exposed, and it's a beautiful thing. I mean, we're really lucky. So hang in there. It's going to be okay. I really trust that we're going to be celebrating. We're going to be celebrating next month at this time. It's going to be awesome. All right. Take care.